Set dialog item text. For my settings, item buttons, it's going to be temp button. To the text, once again in the settings, the text, the player, and the current position. Current position for our player. Alright, if it's not, let's just hide the button, shall we? Yeah, let's just hide it. I could also, no, let's hide it. Show hide dialog item. Not select button, this one, and our temp button for, it's a bit of a pain to set this up. And obviously if I'm gonna hide it there, I'm gonna need to show it here, just in case it has been hidden before, and temp button. Alright, so that's the text. This should pretty much work. Yeah, let's try it. We should see the 5 first items. And we don't. Everything is hidden. Well, at least hiding the buttons worked. So something is wrong. Excellent. Let's have a quick look here. Data setup. And then we can go in add list items. We're gonna duplicate this, and we're gonna set seems we're gonna get a bit of debugging in this one as well. Item bollocks. Convert integer to text, and we're gonna take the. Alright. Gonna get my lovely trigger debugging window here. And it doesn't output anything. That's a bit weird. That is a bit weird. What have I done wrong? Let's just do a printout here. It's not even running the function. Alright, that's weird. I've done something seriously wrong somewhere. So there's something wrong over here. Probably the get total amount of heroes added. Total heroes added, and add hero. See nothing wrong with that. This is quite weird. You'll see I'm just copying in debug messages here and there just to try to figure out what's not running correctly and where the code is going. So seems you're gonna get a bit of debugging in this tutorial as well. Oh. Alright, this thing is reversed, that's why. There we go. It wasn't, that probably means that the unit library has the same, yeah. Alright, that should fix it. Ah, lovely. Too many list items. Yeah, I copied that in somewhere, didn't I? And what do you know? My 5 first items are showing up. Excellent! Did I actually set Terran to be white color? I thought I set this something else. Apparently I set it to white. How boring. Alright, let's delete that. Okay, so let's keep going. Where was I? Yes, now the list is updating. Obviously, it's not very interesting at the moment. All it does is, well, just update the first 5. We're gonna need to do something more fancy than that. So, the next thing we're gonna do is in here. I'm gonna check if the button is selected. So I'm gonna take my variable, current position. If that equals selected item, then I'm gonna disable the button. Dialog, enable, disable, and we're gonna take the button. For all players. And if it's not selected, I'm gonna enable it. Of course, we can't select the button yet, and we can't scroll on the list. So obviously that's the next thing we're gonna have to create. So I'm gonna add the new trigger. A button callback, and we're gonna hook it into the dialog item is used event. And inside here, first I'm gonna do for each integer. And the variable that I'm gonna use is temp button again. From 1 to max buttons. And we're gonna check if the use dialog item is equal to our button. Use dialog item if it's equal to our button. Then we are going to set variable. Now you could use functions here, of course, which is usually a prettier way of doing this. I've been a bit lazy because I didn't want to make this any longer than it already is. But you could make get set for the most commonly used things in here. Selected item for the player. I need the player ID. I'm gonna make a player ID here, and I'm gonna set it to the triggering player. I just prefer doing that instead of setting triggering player everywhere in here. The value that we're gonna set it to is not the temp button. We're gonna use this here again, and we're gonna take our dialog settings here. We're gonna need the current list position for the player, and we're gonna add the temp button. Well, we're gonna add the temp button -1. Once again, this is because both the buttons start with button 1 at the top, and array starts at 1. The dialog items start at 1. So we're gonna have to do it like this. We're gonna have to subtract 1. Else, if you click the first button and you're at the start of the list, which is the start of the list is 1. The first button is 1, and then if you don't subtract 1, it's gonna add up to 2, which then would mean the second button in the list. So, which is why I'm subtracting 1. So let's try it. And absolutely nothing happens, which is quite obvious, because I forgot to do one very, very important thing, which is called the update list function for the player. it needs to run again. So let's try it again now and see if maybe something more exciting happens. I click and the button gets disabled. Woohoo! So now we have a button selection here. Now we're gonna have to do some scrolling action, which is also fairly easy. We're gonna start by adding some more support functions. New function. Dialog. Is scroll up allowed. Once again, we need a player ID as a parameter. And it's just gonna return a boolean, so